Our movie begins with the first scene of a fantasy story titled The Magical Stone Series. We see a quiet and beautiful place named after its inhabitants, a sect called Qin Yun. A young man named Xian appears, who loves cooking very much and is good at making food, but he loves martial arts even more. Unfortunately, despite his passion, Xian is kind-hearted and innocent, which made him somewhat weak, prompting other martial arts students to mock him and showcase their strength in front of him, making him feel inferior to their level. In the next scene, a beautiful girl named Ling appears, the only distinguished girl in the place, as she is the daughter of the sect leader, who is named Qin Yun. Most of the students in this sect were widely renowned and possessed extraordinary skills, such as the ability to fly and make things fly, but they did not use these powers wisely. They only used them to impress Ling and her father. In one scene, one of the students makes a plate of food fly into the air, landing on Chun's head, ruining all his cooking efforts. Then the leader of the sect arrives, a man of strong character who is greatly respected by everyone. We see them all sitting down to a meal of grilled chicken and rice, and the meal was extremely delicious. After finishing the meal, the commander decided to test Chun's strength. Of course, the students knew that his power was weak, and they tried to help him by giving him a part of their inner energy, but the leader noticed that and easily defeated them all. In the next scene, Ling comes to teach Chun some lessons on how to control his power, how he can fly by controlling himself and his thoughts, and how he communicates with nature and meditates in it to draw his strength. But during training, the Chun chain began to light up for the first time, causing a disruption in his energy flow and distracting his focus, which is something that rarely happens to any student. Chun lost consciousness at that moment, and Ling realized that something unnatural was happening to him, as she felt two different types of energy. Ling tried to connect the dots and concluded that what was happening with Chun was related to a memory from the past, because it was unusual for a young man from the Qin Yun sect to know only the basic fundamentals of martial arts. At that moment, she tried to stimulate his memories, and Chun began to see visions, recalling the terrible day when all the villagers were killed by an unknown force 10 years ago, including his family. At that moment, Ling felt Chun's deep pain and decided to take responsibility for it, despite the strict rules that prohibit anyone from leaving the village without the leader's permission. But Ling defied these rules and took Chun to his old village. This visit was extremely difficult for her, as the village used to be full of life and joy, but now it has become deserted and filled with silence and ruin. The visit to the village deeply affected Chun as his memories began to gradually return. He remembered his brother, Chen Yu, when they were together collecting some spruce wood in the forest on their way home, unaware of the tragedies awaiting them in their village. When they arrived, they witnessed a terrifying scene that would never be forgotten, as the sky was filled with dazzling lightning that struck the villagers. At that moment, the two children saw two people with superpowers whose strength was so immense that it threw the children away, causing them to lose consciousness immediately. Chun regained consciousness at night and saw that the two were still fighting. One of them was Wuxia, a military leader of martial arts famous for his unparalleled legendary skill. But his enemy was also very strong, and his face was terrifying, covered by a mask that was never removed. The masked man noticed the presence of Chun and placed a strange insect on his body. At that moment, the legendary warrior realized what was happening and quickly tried to save Chun, but he fell into the trap. The insect was poisonous, and it attacked and bit him. The bite was deadly, and the poison spread quickly, but the legendary warrior used all his strength to control the poison and slow its spread in his body. While the enemy was preparing to deliver his final blow, he raised his sword charged with lightning energy, and it was clear that he was preparing a devastating curse, using all his strength against the warrior. On the other hand, the warrior used all his strength to withstand that blow. A massive wave of energy occurred from the collision of the two forces, causing everything around them to be destroyed. Chun recalled these painful memories and remembered in detail how the devastating war left his village in ruins, causing the death of his parents. In the next scene, the governor arrived at the village accompanied by some members and students of the Qin Yun sect, who came to investigate the destruction that befell the village. At that moment, Chen Yu was begging the governor. When the governor saw Chen Yu's pleas, his heart softened, and he agreed to take the two children to the Qin Yun sect to learn martial arts. Chen Yu didn't just take him alone, but also noticed that Xian had extraordinary potential, despite his weaker appearance compared to his brother. The governor felt that Xian might have latent potential that needed to be discovered and developed, and decided to observe them during the training to ensure the correctness of his decision. During this period, Ling stayed by Xian's side, reassuring him that she would always be with him no matter what happened. She kept her promise and became like an older sister to him, supporting him on his journey to regain his strength and develop his skills. At the same time, Chen Yu had reached the level of dragon power, a superhuman level of strength known in the Chen Yun sect. As for Xian, he was training hard despite his past being filled with hardships on Blackwood Hill, and he dreamed of becoming like his brother. But he knew he had a long way to go before reaching even half of Chen Yu's strength. One day, everyone learned about a martial arts tournament held every 60 years under the auspices of the Chen Yun sect, and this event was very important for all the rising fighters. One night, Xian was walking with a group of sect students in an agricultural field when they unexpectedly encountered a group of students from other sects. They were trying to spy on a girl famous for her beauty named Lichi, who was training with her classmates. Unfortunately for Xian, he stumbled and fell in front of the students, who thought he posed a threat and pointed their swords at him. His friends ran away quickly, leaving him alone. Xian fell under the mercy of Lichi and her group, who decided to punish him. They tied him by his foot and mocked him severely. Xian tried to express his surrender and offered to cook them a delicious meal in exchange for their forgiveness. But Lichi thought of another punishment. She brought ants and put them inside his clothes, making him run away quickly, trying to get rid of the ants that were biting him hard. His friends eventually helped him get rid of the ants and took him to a sacred place with warm water to treat his wounds. But Jian was terrified, especially when Ling entered and saw his condition. He didn't want her to see him in that condition, but she showed great empathy and offered him an antibiotic ointment to treat his inflamed skin. And when she tried to remove an ant that was walking on his face, Xian felt romantic feelings towards her, thinking she might be interested in him, but in reality, she saw him as a younger brother. The next day, Qian sat by the sacred lake, contemplating his feelings for Ling. He spoke to the giant water dragon, Ling Wen, who was his friend, and shared his romantic feelings for Ling. The dragon advised him to confess to her how he feels before the ruler discovers it and punishes him. After that, Ling presented Xian with a sacred book containing the secrets of martial arts skills, a book that would be of great benefit in the upcoming tournament. Xian began training in those skills, trying to focus and control his energy. But the chain he was wearing started to shine, and he saw multiple visions of another world and mysterious events, including the appearance of the legendary warrior Buchi. At that moment, Xian remembered the origins of the necklace and realized that Pochi had given it to him when he was young, and it holds secrets that might be the key to understanding his latent abilities. The new part of the story presents an exciting development in Xian's life. After trying to get rid of the chain that prevents his power, he finds himself facing many challenges, including an aggressive monkey and the mysterious appearance of a magical staff that has a strange connection to the chain he possesses. At first, Xian believes that getting rid of the chain will solve his problems in learning martial arts, but it soon becomes clear to him that things are more complicated than he imagines. The staff, which suddenly emerged from the lake and absorbed a great deal of energy, became an integral part of his fate. The mysterious power that the stone possesses in the series terrifies the cult members, indicating that Xian has a hidden strength that exceeds their expectations. After the confrontation with the monkey, it turns out that the stick was not just a tool, but a being with magical abilities. The staff, which a mysterious girl named Piao tried to steal, always returns to Xian in a magical way, as if it is inextricably linked to him. This confuses Biao, who couldn't control the stick despite her numerous attempts. The events unfold with the appearance of more characters, such as Lichi and Ling, who stand by Xian in this mysterious journey. It seems that the staff has a significant role in the upcoming battles, and Xian will need a deeper understanding of the power he possesses. In the end, the story leaves us with Xian, who despite everything happening, finds himself returning to his daily tasks in the sect, sweeping the training headquarters while the others prepare for the upcoming tournament. What a surprise! The story is developing remarkably. Xian seems to be on a long journey of struggle and learning, facing great challenges related to the mysterious chain and the magic wand. The clashes between factions and heroes reveal a continuous tension between the forces of good and evil, and between characters whose intentions and motivations differ. It is clear that Xian has started to show strong potential after getting rid of the chain, but he is still trapped among mysterious people like Biao, who seems to have suddenly changed from an enemy to a fan, which complicates things even more for Qian. Biao, with her stubbornness and mystery, adds another layer of tension as she seeks to seize the magic staff by any means possible. but the staff seems to be inextricably linked to the entity of Xian. I also liked how Ling, despite Xian's love for her, seems distant from him, and the relationship becomes more complicated with the presence of Xian. This adds an element of sadness and emotional turmoil to Xian's life, highlighting the depth of his character and inner struggles. The competition in the martial arts championship will play a significant role in determining the fate of the sects and may witness further development in Xian's abilities. What an unexpected turn of events. The story is taking a new turn full of excitement and surprises. Xian, although he wasn't initially interested in martial arts, found himself in a world full of conflicts and challenges. The scene he shared with Biao was very special. So after she intended to kill him, we find that she starts to appreciate his cooking skills. The relationship between them began to take a different turn, as their friendship deepened after Xian promised to help her against the Qingyun sect that was pursuing her. This shows the human side of Xian's character and his desire to help others, even at his own expense. On the other hand, the World Martial Arts Championship brought even more excitement. The students from 7 different sects gathered, each carrying their own weapon, highlighting the diversity in forces and methods. And here is Xian meeting his old friend Shushu, who abandoned him in the past, making things emotionally complicated for him. The scene in which Leiqi was embraced was bold and unexpected, making him the center of attention. It seems that Xian is facing conflicting emotions and internal struggles regarding his status and abilities. In the end, luck smiled on Xian again when he received the golden card without fighting, allowing him to advance to the next stage without a match. This surprise could be an opportunity for him to prove himself in the upcoming competition, despite his doubts about his abilities. The story is becoming more exciting and thrilling, especially with the upcoming challenges in the competition and the developments in Xian's relationships with his friends and enemies. The events have become more complex and exciting. The second phase was full of challenges and surprises, especially with Leiqi, who showcased her amazing combat abilities but exhausted all her energy. The situation becomes more mysterious when her coach offers her the mysterious potion that enhances her strength and restores her energy. This scene reflects how sects use mysterious methods to achieve superiority in these tournaments. On the other hand, Xian, who is still considered weak by others, was preparing for his match. The moment the sandstorm occurred made the situation extremely exciting, as the match ended before it practically began, and Xian won without even understanding what had happened, neither he nor his friends. It seems that there is a mysterious force surrounding Xian, and perhaps the magic wand he obtained is the reason for those unexpected events. The confrontation between Xian and his brother Tinio was a pivotal moment in the story. Tinio always looked at Xian as weak, but in this match, he was unexpectedly humiliated. The magic wand that Xian used played a significant role in the outcome, but he felt guilty after the match because he didn't intend to insult his brother. This shows the emotional side of Xian's character, who was not happy with his victory and decided to give up the magic wand, reflecting his maturity and desire to achieve victories through his own efforts. The highly anticipated match between Ling and Leiqi was a major turning point in the tournament, as it was one of the toughest encounters. The tension was evident between the two factions, and both girls were very popular. The fight between them was fast and intense, making all the attendees, including Xian, unable to comprehend the speed of the events. In the end, the sect leader Chen Yun honored Xian after his consecutive victories in the previous stages, but he didn't stop there. He granted Xian a portion of his spiritual energy to ensure his continued good performance in the upcoming stages. This gift reflects the increasing importance of Xian in the tournament and opens the door to greater challenges. Then we see the monkey, a mysterious character, taking Xian to somewhere in the forest. It seems that there is a great secret waiting to be revealed, and perhaps this monkey carries new keys to Xian's power or his fate in the tournament. The events are escalating quickly, and more excitement awaits us in the upcoming stages. The events are escalating dramatically. Leiqi and Xian found an unconscious girl near the shore who seemed to have gone through a difficult experience, adding a human dimension to the story. Xian's attempt to help her, despite not knowing how to save her, shows his bravery and concern for others. When he managed to retrieve her medicine and succeeded in helping her regain her strength, he revealed her ambitions and hopes for achieving success for her community, adding depth to her character. Then comes the confrontation between Xian and Leiqi, where the tensions were evident. Everyone expected Leiqi to win thanks to its strength, and Xian had a hard time resisting its attacks. But the moment the magic wand comes to his rescue reflects the complex relationship between him and that mysterious force. It seems that the staff is closely linked to his blood, adding an element of mystery to the origins of its power. Xian's exploitation of the stick while respecting sportsmanship reflects his internal struggle between using legitimate force and defending his principles. The state of confusion among the cult members indicates concern over Xian's increasing power and doubts about the magic of the staff. The connection between Xian and the exiled evil sorcerer adds an exciting element, making viewers wonder about Xian's fate and whether he will become a tool in the hands of evil. Scenes of the attack on the students in the forest and forcing them to confront the threat of an evil sorcerer add an extra layer of complexity to the story. In the end, it seems that Xian has become the center of everyone's admiration, but they still feel concerned about the presence of an evil force. The suggestion to kill him as a means of controlling the magic wand shows the extent of the tension and the potential consequences of the challenges he faces. His friend's intervention to defend him and convince the cult members not to kill him is a sign of friendship and loyalty, indicating the development of relationships between the characters. The events are intriguing, with increasing suspense and questions about Xian's future and his relationship with the magic wand. These developments open the door to more surprises and challenges in the upcoming stages. The story follows the journey of Xian and Liqi, where they discover a girl named Liqi unconscious by the beach. Xian tries to help her and searches for her missing medicine, and he succeeded in that. After Liqi regains consciousness, she tells Xian about her ambitions and efforts to achieve success in her sect. After that, Xian and Liqi are judged to face each other in a duel, where Xian shows weakness against Liqi's strength, but his magic wand saves him at the last moment, raising doubts about his true power. The members are suspicious of the relationship between Xian and the staff, especially since it is linked to a deadly magic used by the king of two evil sorcerers. The events escalate as Liqi is imprisoned, and Piao uses her power to free Xian. The story develops when Piao shows her loyalty to Xian, but it is discovered that she is the daughter of the evil sorcerer king. A conflict occurs between Xian and the sorcerer king, where Xian uses his staff to defend himself, but he begins to lose control of his powers. The battles and confrontations continue until Xian faces the cult members, and things turn tragic when Liqi is severely injured, leading to her losing consciousness. Xian is drowning in feelings of sadness and regret, losing control of himself, making him appear as an evil force. In the end, Xian regains consciousness, but it's too late as Liqi has been lost. He decides to escape after realizing that he has become a hated person, and the great dragon who raised Xian when he was young appears to restore hope and return to his world. The story highlights the internal struggle and the search for identity, in addition to the importance of sportsmanship and loyalty. It was a journey full of challenges, but it ends on a note of hope and renewal.